So you're driving down the freeway doing about 60 when you notice the guy next to you is steering with his knees, eating a cheeseburger and talking on the phone. And that is exactly why the all-new 09 F-150 is the safest truck in America. It's got a high-strength steel safety cage, side impact airbags, safety canopy, 5-star crash rating, and roll stability control. Because it's not just crazy out there, it's certifiably insane, okay? It's not just a new truck, it's the 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
How can this be a salad?
Good evening and welcome to America's News HQ. We're back and we're live for this America's News HQ special. Roll the tapes. And welcome back. Thank you for joining me for this special edition of America's News HQ right here on Newsmax. Coming up on the show tonight, all of the latest news headlines, including our new president, Barack Obama, and an exclusive interview with the Speaker of the House. Let's go ahead and get into our first headlines. America has a new president, and the world has high hopes for him. Barack Obama has taken the oath of office and has been sworn in as America's 44th president and the country's first African-American leader. More than 1 million people gathered in the National Mall in a wintry Washington, D.C. to see Mr. Obama take the oath shortly after 12 o'clock. He used his inaugural address to vow to begin to work with remaking America. The new leader said the country faced a number of challenges, but was entering a new era of responsibility. But shadows was cast over Mr. Obama's celebrations in the hours after his swearing in, as a veteran Senator Ted Kennedy collapsed on the inaugural lunch. Mr. Kennedy, whose support was seen as an influential winning Democratic voters over for Mr. Obama, has been seriously ill with a brain tumor and previously undergone surgery. Earlier in the inaugural address, Obama made a reference to the scale of his achievement at being the first Black African-American elected to the White House, and his remarks gathered one of the biggest cheers of the speech. This is the meaning to our liberty and our creed, why a man whose faster left 60 years ago might not have served at a local restaurant, but can now stand before you and take the oath. We have a video to show you of his inauguration today. Take a look.
Mr. President, if you can raise your right hand for me. Mr. President-elect, you can raise your right hand for me. Repeat after me. I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Justice.
What a wonderful video from the inauguration. Of course, we're going to be covering more of the inauguration after our other international news headlines. Maybe some international news now, though. not want to be involved in military relations with the United States when Barack Obama becomes president, but a senior military official made it clear that it wants the U.S. to stop selling arms to Taiwan, a self-governing island that China considers its own. The comments came at an event to unveil a beneficial military report. This says that security situation's improving, although it faces a number of threats. At the press conference to release the report, Colonial Hu Chan-nigin, nothing the changes in Washington said. In this new period, we hope that both China and the U.S. can make efforts to improve and promote military relations between the two countries. Moving on now to some aviation news. The U.S. plane that crashed into the New York's Hudson River had engine problems 2 days earlier, U.S. investigators say. They say the U.S. Airbus A320 stalled a compressor on the 13th of January. The investigators have now confirmed that a collision with a flock of birds caused the plane to lose power and ditch in the river. On the 15th of January, all 155 passengers and crew of flight 1549 from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte, North Carolina survived the landing on the Hudson. They were rescued by boats from the sinking aircraft, and Captain Chesley Sully Solidberger was the last to leave the wreckage of the plane. The wreckage of the plane was also lifted out of the water out of the icy water and moved to a marina for closer inspection of the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board. Spokesman Peter Condoso said on Monday the examination of the plane's maintenance records had shown there was an entry in the airliner's maintenance that indicated a compressor stall on the 13th of January. Oh, that was a tongue twister there. That is all for our news headlines, but stay with us as I am joined by the Speaker of the House to talk about the inauguration and the start of the 111th Congress. America's News HQ. We'll be right back. and welcome back to this Newsmax Inauguration special. I'm now joined by Cameron underscore developer, aka Speaker of the House. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Jackson. How are you? Mr. Jackson, how are you?
I am doing honestly very good tonight. I'm really glad to have you here. Now, of course, you were at the inauguration, but backstage you were telling me a crazy story about you might have been sworn in as president. Want to share that with our viewers?
Well, due to the technicality of us having to postpone the inauguration for some time, if we would have pushed it back until 3 o'clock or so forth, I would have had to have been sworn in as president because we had to postpone the time a little bit. But technical difficulty avoided, thank God. And I'm proud Mr. Obama was sworn in and Mr. Biden was sworn in today.
Would you have been interested in being president for those 3 hours?
No. I am proud to have assumed my duties as speaker, and I would like to keep it that way for now.
So, I mean, I guess what was the overall feeling at the inauguration today? And I guess just tell us about it since we were unable to cover it earlier today.
Well, the feeling was hope.
Mr. President, if you
Mr. Obama ran a campaign on hope and change. His speech was about hope and change and helping us out this economic disaster we were in that we got put in by the last administration. And he wants you to know that there is hope at the end of the tunnel, hope at the end of the rainbow, and he wants to take us over that. And I believe that he can. uh, we had a meeting at the White House just after he was inaugurated, and it was about his economic stimulus package and how we plan on passing it and making it bipartisan. And we plan on working with everybody. And uh, President Obama does not plan on being partisan. He plans on being bipartisan, bringing everybody to the table. And that was what was in his speech. And I believe we will have a wonderful 4 years with President Obama working across the aisle with everybody. And he's made that clear so many times. And in his inauguration speech, he made that clear. And we are proud of the work he is going to start to do very soon.
Now, you bring up hope, and this is something interesting. One of our partners of Newsmax, BBC, sent out a poll that there is widespread and growing optimism around the globe that Barack Obama's presidency will improve relations with the rest of the world. Now, hope is always something that we look for, and we hope that this president does do good. Now, do you think that he will boost our U.S. relations in the world?
I absolutely do. I believe that with his cabinet picks, like Senator Durant as Secretary of State, Senator Durant knows people across the world. She knows our allies across the world. She's done extraordinary things in the Senate. And I believe that fixing our alliances all across the world is the best thing we can do right now. After the last administration has destroyed our alliances, we must bring diplomacy to the table, back to the table, if I can say that. And that's what the Obama administration will do.
No, I've been asking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you can go.
Oh, so I've been asking most of our guests that's been on here really what they think some of the biggest challenges the Obama administration is going to face. Now, what do you think some of his biggest challenges are going to be while he's in office for these 4 years?
Well, his first 100 days are going to be defined by this economic disaster we are in. This stimulus package can boost our economy and save American workers. This first 100 days will be the most trying time of any presidency in modern history. Nothing has been seen like this since the Great Depression.
Yeah, and I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead. You cut out there.
Homeowners are losing homes at an even faster rate than ever before. Workers are getting laid off. Businesses are shutting down. A solution needs to be found. And that's what I believe the Obama administration is doing as we speak.
I can't agree more with you on that. And I think that's something that we're all going to look out for. And I mean, what is the overall feeling now that America's elected its first African American leader?
Well, that's a good question that you asked that. Though I was elected the first black speaker back in 2001, seeing an African American president come up right after, about 6 years later, is even it's extraordinary. He's been through a long and tedious campaign, filled with I'm not going to say filled with, but it's some of the things on the campaign trail that some people have said have been racist towards. People have said, we don't think the country is ready for a black president, but the country was ready for a black president. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day. Leader Burke marched with Mr. King. I know Mr. King is smiling down on this wonderful day in our history, in our nation's history.
Yeah, and in fact, President Obama did honor Martin Luther King in his speech today, which was also very amazing to see. Like 60 years ago today, we wouldn't have known that an African American president could even be in the Congress, let alone become president of the United States. It's just
Ab-
absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. We see members of Congress, we see more members of Congress of color uh, from the CBC Republicans and Democrats, which I am very proud of, to see very diverse caucuses on both sides. We see leadership, congressional leadership, stacked with people of color. And it is I am very proud to see how far this country has moved and has came, because just over 60 years ago, a black and white woman couldn't get married, nor could a black member of Congress, at the same table as a white person. Now, to where we are in leadership, it is absolutely wonderful.
I know, and just how remarkable it is. Now, I want to turn away from the inauguration for a little while and talk about the 111th Congress. Now, that opened up just a few days ago, so I mean, just describe the overall feeling of that and give us a rundown on how the first day went.
Well, Republicans and Democrats are very hopeful. We're optimistic for change, and we're optimistic to work with the president. Now, we've always said we're ready to get to work. We're ready to work across the aisle. I believe this can be the most bipartisan Congress if we work together. And that's what we plan on doing. I know I plan on doing that as Speaker. But other than that, we're ready. Our constituents know what they elect. I mean, our constituents know why we are here. They have sent us a mandate, Republicans and Democrats, to do the work of the people. And that's what we're going to do. There is no time to play. There is no time to do anything out of the ordinary. There is only time to do work. And that's what members are doing. The minority leader and the majority leader, both the whips, are working. They're working hard to ensure that we can get past these tough times in our country.
Now, speaking of the 111th Congress, I want to talk about Josh Ford. He was there on the first day and caused a scene in front of the Congress. How did you feel when he acted out like that?
Well, knowing me, I am a parliamentarian. When a member of Congress gets elected Speaker, they have to know parliamentary procedure. But Mr. Ford showed that he. I don't want to speak informally about a colleague of mine while he is still a colleague of mine. I understand that Mr. Ford may not know how things are operated on the House floor, or that you do not go up in the diocese and sit in the speaker's chair, or wear regular street clothes on the floor since we have a dress code. But I believe some members have, on both sides, have said Mr. Ford needs to step down, and in the coming day, it's disappointing. But in the coming days, we'll see a little bit more as of to what happens to Josh Ford. But it's very sad to see a member act as Mr. Ford has.
Do you believe that Mr. Ford should step down?
Well, I'm still in my own investigatory way looking at if he should step down or not. That's the last result that I would ever say. But as of now, I'm leaning towards he should step down. For the sake of his constituents, yes.
And I mean, you see an elected official elected by us American people to represent us in Congress acting out like that. And I just think it is an embarrassment. So I think most people in Congress can agree with you on that. And on that note, I want to talk about what is the Congress's plans. What are some of what are some of the key issues that y'all are going to be focusing on, during the 111th Congress?
That's easy. Healthcare, infrastructure, and fixing housing. We need
Yeah.
some and making sure our economy gets back to normal, and making sure Americans get back to normal.
Yeah, so I guess it's all about bringing America together and getting us back to that normal place where we used to be. And on that note, I've been asking all of my guests recently to, I guess, kind of rank how well you think the Obama administration is going to do over the next 4 years. We have like a little running list going, and we're going to see who gets the closest. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, how well do you think the Obama administration will do during their first 4 years in office?
During their first 4 years, I'm going to have to say I'm a little bit biased on this question, so I would give them a 10. I would say this is going to be one of the best 4 years since Bill Clinton we have had, since
Well,
Bill Clinton's first 4 years.
wow, that's our first 10 that we've gotten, so I mean, we'll keep track of that. Thank you for coming on, and we're going to be right back with our final thoughts. Thank you're watching America's News HQ. And welcome back to this America's News HQ Inauguration Special. I'm joined again by Cameron, Speaker of the House, and it's time for our final thoughts. So Cameron, just wrap up the night, give us your final thoughts on everything in general.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Well, tonight we saw our first African American president get sworn in. He gave a speech about hope and change, about how we will get out of this economic turmoil. The president has laid out a plan to save our economy from disaster, from going into a new depression. I believe that we are about to have one of the best 4 years we've ever seen from any modern president since Bill Clinton. And I believe that working together with both sides of the aisle is how we're going to do that and how it's going to be done.
Well, what great final thoughts tonight. And as far as mine go, I mean, we saw Obama get inaugurated today. This marks his first day, and he's going to be having each day something come up different for the next 4 years, and he's going to have to learn how to distinguish these challenges between all of the different things. And I think that that's going to really be just something to watch out for. If the world has high hopes for Obama, then I do too, and that's going to be my final thoughts for tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching our inauguration special tonight. It's been a great episode. Thank you, Cameron, for coming on. Always love to talk to you.
Thank you.
And everybody just have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And don't forget about Newsmax Now coming up right after us. We'll see you next time on America's News HQ.